Greetings, comrades. I'm Dr. Mark Barron, and I'm Sean's life coach. What I'd like to discuss with you today is Sean's lifelong learning plan. I believe that Sean has a real commitment to lifelong learning, and to demonstrate this, we're going to look at his 3 lifelong learning goals. Naturally then, we must first establish what these goals are before we can get into them. The first of which is going to be a 5-year goal, or plan, much like my hero Mao Zedong did throughout his career. Oh Mao, I miss you so much. The second is going to be a 10-year goal, and the third is going to be a 20-year goal. Each of these goals must meet certain criteria. This criteria is engraved in the SMART acronym. SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-specific. So unless anyone has any questions, then let's begin, shall we? Number 1. The 5-year plan. Within the next 5 years, Sean expects to be teaching at a school of some sort. In that regard, it seems really natural that his 5-year goals are related to being a teacher in the classroom. To that extent, I've prepared the following goals. Simply put, Sean wants to learn the basics of teaching within the next 5 years. In terms of teaching basics, there are 2 particular aspects in which Sean feels like he needs to focus on. The first is classroom management. The reason behind this is that Sean feels like he has a tendency to sort of be the clown of the classroom. Sean realizes that this is not an effective strategy always for running a classroom. To this extent, he wants to work on his skills in balancing the humor as well as the seriousness in his leadership style. The second is his skills in terms of curriculum and lesson planning. Sean feels unsure about how he's going to fit particular concepts within the social studies curriculum into his lessons in everyday life. He often finds himself at a crossroads between how to teach things applicably that are interesting to students' lives while also still hitting the tenets of the social studies curriculum. While some of these goals may be kind of lofty, I do believe that within 5 years some of these are attainable through the education program that he's enrolled in now. This combined with the actual teaching experience that he will gain within the next 5 years. At the end of 5 years, as his life coach, I'll be able to measure whether he has achieved these goals or not by simply looking at his practice and pointing at by how well he seems to manage his classrooms, combined with how applicable and how well he's doing his lesson planning in his classroom. To this extent, Sean is going to have to learn skills around classroom management as well as around lesson planning and apply these skills to his classroom, something which I am sure that he will engage with very much in his first couple of years. And on that note, we're going to move on to our 10-year goal. Sean's 10-year goal is that he wants to be able to balance life and work. Sean realizes that teaching is a very demanding profession and does not expect to be able to balance his life as well as his teaching experience very well within his first 5 years. That being said, within the first 10 years, he would like to learn how to balance life and work. And with respect to these goals, Sean has chosen 3 aspects of his life which he will reflect upon and measure in terms of success in terms of balancing life and school. The first of these measures is going to be his social life. Within the next 10 years, Sean expects to have a particular social life. This in itself would be a good measure of whether he's able to balance life and school. I.e., if he has time for his friends, then obviously he's able to balance his life and school. The second aspect is going to be his family life. Within the next 10 years, Sean expects to have a family. His ability to balance his work and his life will directly influence his family life. In this way, it'll be evident if he is not able to balance his work life and his family life, as if he is neglecting his family for his work, or neglecting his responsibilities as a parent. Finally, a good indicator of whether he is able to balance his work life and his personal life is if he has personal time for himself. I believe it's healthy for every person to have time for themselves, to unwind and to do their own thing. If Sean finds that he's too busy with other aspects of his life, including work, to not make time for himself, it may be an indicator that he has been unable to balance his personal life and his work life. All in all, to achieve these goals, Sean will continue to be a lifelong learner, way into the future, specifically 10 years into the future, in order to achieve this balance he desires in his life. So at this point in his life, where things such as family and children will become extremely important to Sean, as he will now have the time for them. In this way, I believe it is a very reasonable 10-year goal to have. Finally, Sean's 20-year goal is to further his education. In terms of furthering education, Sean has the goal that within 20 years, he wants to hold either a PhD or a master's in political science. For him, this seems like a natural step, as he will move on from teaching high school students to university students. In this way, his goal will always be to teach. However, the level in which he teaches will increase as time goes on. In terms of measurement, it will be easy to tell whether Sean has reached his goal or not. If in 20 years Sean does not hold a PhD or master's and is not teaching at a university level, he's obviously not achieved his goal. This goal embodies the spirit of a lifelong learner, as you'll literally need to take more education to achieve this goal. So let's recap. Obviously, Sean has embodied the spirit of a lifelong learner, and to this extent has prepared 3 goals which will help to facilitate his lifelong learning journey. The first of these goals is contained within his 5-year plan. Within this 5-year plan, Sean wants to learn the teaching basics, such as classroom management and lesson planning. His second goal is his 10-year plan. This 10-year plan includes the critical aspect of being able to balance life and work. In this way, he will focus on things such as family life and social life. And finally, his third goal is his 20-year plan. His 20-year plan includes getting a further education in political science in order to teach higher levels of social studies. Alright gang, that's it for everything today. Thanks for tuning in, comrades. I'll see you again next time. From everyone here at Forest Lawn, have a good night.